This episode is brought to you by Kavanaugh's Grill, one of my favorite places to eat and drink in any PA. They've got one of the best outdoor patios with 13 TVs and over 20 beers on tap. You can also dine inside at this cozy Irish-style pub where your beer never goes empty. Did I mention how delicious their food is? Their in-house smoked brisket, barbecue ribs, and wings are to die for. So grab your friends and have a drink on me at Kavanaugh's. Mention code STACKS for one free draft beer with purchase of any entree when you dine in. Located at 163 North Main Street in Mountaintop, Kavanaugh's is open at 4 p.m. during the week and 12 p.m. on Saturday and Sunday during football season. Dine in today at Mountaintop's only Irish-style pub. This episode is brought to you by the Pest Rangers. Finding insects in your home can be a real pest. I know I felt that way when I discovered termites living rent-free in my house. But thanks to the team at the Pest Rangers, I'm no longer bugging out over this issue. So if any creepy crawlers are cramping your style, there's no ifs, ands, or bugs about it. You gotta call the Pest Rangers. For more information on how to rid your home from unwanted pests, call the Pest Rangers today at 570-826-1114 or visit them online at thepestrangers.com. This episode is brought to you by Burn, the fitness company behind the Today Show approved Burn Board. If I'm being honest, working out can be a real chore, especially as a new dad in desperate need of sleep and cardio. Burn is founded by NEPA native Jimmy T. Martin, and his Burn Board offers a low-impact core and cardio experience unlike anything I've done before. They have hundreds of on-demand workouts that are great for beginners, seasoned athletes, and out-of-shape podcast hosts who love supporting small businesses. My wife and I use it pretty frequently throughout the week, and it's honestly a great way to burn a ton of calories without burning a ton of cash. Not to mention, it's a great tool for skiers, runners, wrestlers, and hockey players. Jimmy is offering all On the Stacks listeners 15% off when they use the code STACKS15. Visit theburn.com today to get 15% off your purchase with code STACKS15 at checkout. Again, that's theburn, THEBRRN.com to get 15% off your purchase with code STACKS15. It's time to get on board today with Burn.
So in these pictures, these were only a few months prior to me realizing how heavy I had gotten, and I have no shame in my game. I was 396 pounds on the dot. And I remember that because the day that I couldn't walk up the stairs anymore, I hopped on the scale. And when I saw that number, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. And to look at myself now, 3 years later, at 152 pounds, and in the healthiest state that I've been, physically, mentally, and emotionally, I get super emotional because I don't give myself the credit that I should, whether it's in business or it's just in my personal life. And for once in my life, I can tell you.
Oh yeah, whoa. Look, they can never keep me down, I'm going. And if I ever fail, just know I'll go again. I never quit, cause I know that every loss may lead to another win. I'm going up.
Hi, I'm Bill Corcoran Jr. This is the On the Stacks podcast. Today, I'm chatting with Lindsey Timek, entrepreneur and owner of Abbronzatura Tanning, aka the best glow in the 570. What's up, podcast? It's Bill Corcoran Jr., host of the On the Stacks podcast here in the Blue Door studio, protected by our friends at Ritchie Security Solutions. Lindsey Timek, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. It is an honor and a pleasure.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you here.
Absolutely.
This comes at good timing right before we hit that record button. I was telling you that I just kind of changed up the description of my show a little bit to to fit the guests more that have been coming on the show and telling all their crazy stories of overcoming obstacles and achieving successes. And so the show is really it's become more of a deep dive into the mindsets, hence the hoodie here. Deep dive into the mindsets of entrepreneurs and people in this world. So when you messaged me and asked to come on the show, and I sent you the form, you fill out the form, and you have a crazy story, a crazy good story.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to you sharing it. I know some of it, but not all of it. So
absolutely,
I'm going to hear it mostly for the first time.
Well, I'm really excited to share it with everyone.
Yeah. So where does this start? I mean, you at one point were 400 pounds.
Yeah. So To be honest, my weight has always been a struggle for me. It's been an up and down battle my entire life. And I've done this once before. Back when I graduated high school in 2012, of course, after you graduate, you end up putting on a little bit of like that freshman 15, even though I didn't go to college. I went to cosmetology school. It's just that getting out of the routine of, getting up early, going to school. Also, I was super active because I was a high school cheerleader. So long story short, I had lost about 80 pounds right out of high school. Eating healthy, I had joined Jenny Craig back then. I don't know if some people know that, but it's kind of like a prepared meal service type ordeal. And, I lost the weight, not so much for myself back then, not personally. My family was always very, health conscious and always wanted what was best for me. But this time around, I had put on a lot of weight after we had the pandemic back in, what was that, COVID-19? So 2019 to 2020. The stress of being a new small business owner on top of stressors of everyday life had added up, and they affected, my mental health, which I have always suffered with anxiety and depression growing up, which is nothing that I don't like to talk about. I think it's a very important topic. But this time around, when I took on the journey of weight loss, it was for myself, mind, body, and most importantly, my soul. One day I had been walking up the stairs and I got about halfway up the set of stairs and I was out of breath. And I had realized, I've done something really bad here. I've let myself go to a point where I now am not functioning as a 24 and 25-year-old. So I had gone to see a doctor that I had been seeing for a while, Dr. Brady in Luzerne. He's an internalist, so he specializes in obesity, whether it's in young adults or, adults our age and older. And he had said to me at one point, Linz, we've done this a few times before. And at this point, I think that there's more to this weight loss and weight gain than just you enjoying eating. And he said to me at that point, I think you and I need to talk about gastric bypass surgery. So here I am, 25 years old, with a good business, great family, and I had an opportunity presented in front of me that I had never wanted before. Not that the surgery isn't a blessing for other people, but at my age, it wasn't something that I ever wanted. So I had taken a few weeks to myself, and it hit me pretty hard that was put on the table in front of me. And I had realized, I'm getting older. Finding a husband and getting married and having children are a possibility in the near future. And I may not be able to run around with my children one day if I have them, if I'm this unhealthy and, this heavy. So I had reached back out to Dr. Brady and I said to him, I want you to just give me a few months. And he was like, what do you mean? And I said, just give me a few months. I just want to try to do this for myself and on my own. So one day I sat down and I thought about which option I was going to take. Was I going to take the so easy route and get the surgery and have it be a quick fix? Or was I really going to get to the bottom of the problem of what was causing this roller coaster ride, whether it was with my mental health or with the weight loss and weight gain? So yeah, that's where it kind of really started.
So I want to go back.
Yeah, let's go back.
I want to go back a little because you talked about anxiety and depression.
Absolutely.
Kind of earlier on in your life. And
Absolutely.
It's been a constant. You said as you know for most of your life that you realized that from a very young age.
Absolutely.
Is that right?
Yes.
And I think I already kind of know the answer to this, but I'll let you run with it.
Sure.
But like food and eating was kind of like your go-to thing when you were depressed. Is that right?
So you hit the nail on the head. Typically when we think of addiction, right, we think of addiction to alcohol or to gambling or to sex, or maybe it is to drugs, right? I was slapped with the real reality of I have an addiction to food. And when I had sat with Dr. Brady that day that I saw him after we had this conversation about this surgery, I said to him, I think I have a binge eating problem. And he said, why do you think that? And I said, well, when I'm in that mindset of being depressed or filled with anxiety, I eat. Well, actually, let me rephrase that. I eat out of every emotion: happy, sad, mad, angry. We like food as humans. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, who doesn't?
And to some people that are listening, they're probably thinking, well, yeah, I like to eat in every mood also.
Yeah.
It's a little bit different with somebody that has binge eating. Binge eating disorder came to the point where I was eating everything that was in sight. And I was eating to the point where I was ill. I was head in the toilet. I was sick from it. I couldn't move. And then I was even more depressed. And I was more miserable because I allowed myself to feel this way, right? So it was like a love-hate relationship with food. Then once we had kind of realized that the binge eating was a big part of it, we had dumbed it down to that's how I'm coping with my depression and my anxiety. Because if we rewind to years ago, before we knew everything about mental health that we do now, the one thing that everybody always wanted to do was medicate me. And as a child, what child wants to be medicated, let alone what parent wants to see their child medicated? So over the years of going to therapy and seeing psychiatrists and psychologists, I had made the pact with myself that I don't want to be medicated. I want to know what my problem is. I want to get to the bottom of it, and I want to work through it, no matter how hard or how easy it may be. Because if I'm going to mask it with medication, it's going to be the same toxic cycle for the next how many every years it may be. So,
going back to, like did you find like the root cause too, like of the anxiety and the depression?
Yep. So it's genetic, right? I mean, for some people, it really is. You're born with it. And I mean, it's not anything to be embarrassed about. Of course, it runs in my family. To be honest, I think we all have a little bit of that imbalance in us, no matter if it's something that we take on in the moment or from childhood problems, or we develop it later on in life from work or, relationship.
Running a small business, it's stressful. It's stressful stuff.
So the root of it was never really, there wasn't really one thing, that we can say caused it all. But we were able to pinpoint that binge eating was the way that I was coping with my mental health disorders, right? And that really, really hit me hard. This is why I'm doing this to myself, because I'm masking everything else with the one thing that I like the most, which is food. Now, I grew up in an Italian family. So my great aunt, my Aunt Etta, that unfortunately passed away last year on us, no matter what type of mood we were in, she would say, "You're sad? Come on, sit down. Let's have some food. Oh, you're happy? Come on, let me make some pasta for you." That's how I grew up. I mean,
I get it.
We always loved it.
It's what you do.
Right.
Always eat. Take some stuff to go. Always. Always.
We're packing you up for the next week. We're fine.
Exactly. How much do you want to go? Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep, I get
absolutely. So, it all just kind of went hand in hand. The binge eating, the depression, the anxiety. That was, it's still something that I battle and I deal with every single day. We don't ever resolve those issues. We just learn how to work through them and to navigate life with them. And as I'm getting older, it is becoming a lot easier to do that, to be able to accept the fact that, hey, I'm a human being. I'm 28 years old. I do have a thriving business, but I'm going to say it again. I'm only a human. I'm not a robot. I'm going to suffer with things. I will for the rest of my life. And one thing that a lot of my clients love about me, especially at the salon, is that I am so open. I'm an open book. I will talk to you about everything and anything that I've been through because I've gone through it and I've made my way out of it. So why not share that story with somebody else? Because through it all, the more I talk about it, the more I realize how many of us actually suffer with it. And I've built so many amazing connections and relationships with people simply over the mental health, ordeal. And I truly believe and stand by the fact that it's super important in our generation and our day and age for us to continue this conversation, to never put it on the back burner. Make people know that it is okay to live with mental health issues and to be open about it, So.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love it. Because it's true. Like you said it a little earlier, but like everybody to some degree has something, anxiety, depression, whatever it is. Like everybody has it to a degree, maybe obviously some more than others.
Mm-hmm. And even if you're not pinpointing it and recognizing it in yourself, it's there.
Yeah. It's there. A lot of times people just don't know that it exists until, in your case, obviously it was a little bit more extreme, right? That you realize, oh my God, like I'm way overweight and I need to figure this out. But then there's other people who, might be in a different situation, but still aren't realizing
absolutely
like what's actually happening, and they're experiencing the same thing.
And I mean, of course, with my mental health journey in itself, how can I say this? It was a lot easier for me to destroy myself with food than it was with anything else. And that's a really scary thought, to sit back and think, I can technically like kill myself eating this way, and I hate to be so morbid like that, but it's the truth. Like, you're doing the same thing that people do with drugs and alcohol and anything else that they may be addicted to, just to get through, depression and anxiety.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah. And you brought some photos. You brought some before and after photos.
I did.
With you today.
You are a lucky guy.
Some of which you said, I'm looking at a couple of them right now. And we'll throw some up of them on the screen here.
Sure.
But some of these, and I'll hand you a couple. I think they're the few that you said that some people have never seen these photos before.
I have never shown these pictures to people before.
These are unreleased photos.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
So here, take those.
Perfect.
And tell me about those photos, because
Oy vey.
It's what a hell of a transformation. Well, here, that's a current one, right?
Yeah. So I just had these ones were just taken back in October. But these that I'm showing you, the before pictures, these were taken at my 2-year anniversary at the tanning salon. So that was
this one here.
Yeah.
All right. This one here, and we'll put it up on the screen too.
I apologize for anybody who thinks that that's not me, because I promise you it is me. It is me. It's just I've literally lost an entire person. Some people say you lost 2 people. So in these pictures, these were only a few months prior to me realizing how heavy I had gotten. And I have no shame in my game. I was 396 pounds on the dot. And I remember that because the day that I couldn't walk up the stairs anymore, I hopped on the scale. And when I saw that number, I couldn't believe it. And to look at myself now, 3 years later, at 152 pounds, and in the healthiest state that I've been physically, mentally, and emotionally, I get super emotional because I don't give myself the credit that I should, whether it's in business or it's just in my personal life. And for once in my life, I can tell you that I am beyond proud of myself and very, very thankful that God gave me, the opportunity to be able to live a healthy and happy life.
Boom.
And
high five.
Yes, sir. And I honestly, I love to talk about it, and I get super emotional over it because when I first did a weight loss transformation back in 2012, like I said, it wasn't really for me. I did it because I needed to be skinny, I have to look like all the other pretty girls. Nobody's going to like me because I'm heavy. Where now this transformation, and let me say this too. The first time around that I did this, I was able to tell that it was just a cycle because I lost the weight and I put it right back on. Where I am now 2.5 years out of my weight loss journey and I'm still going. And what I mean by that is when I first did this, sure, working out, eating healthy was a huge part of it. But when I got to my so goal weight back then, I let go of working out and eating healthy. Why wouldn't I? I was skinny. I didn't think I had to do it anymore. Well, was I wrong?
So would you start eating again?
I started eating whatever I wanted. There was no working out. So I went from working out to just living life and not being active in the gym setting. And slowly but surely, I put the weight back on. Not like I did here where it was super rapid, right? Where this time around, this is not about a number on the scale. This was never about how tiny my waist was going to be or who was going to think I looked the greatest. This was solely for me. This was, I want to live a healthy life, mentally, physically, emotionally. And now I don't even have a scale. You walk into my house, there's no scale. You want to know why? Because I don't give a shit what the number is on the scale. I give a shit about how I feel about myself and what I see every morning when I look in the mirror. That's what counts. And when I started realizing that that was the important part to it, I realized, oh shit, this is now a lifestyle. This isn't just, we're going to do it and we're going to see how it goes.
Yeah, and hit that number, right?
Yeah,
hit that magic
absolutely.
number, like, that goal weight, that goal number.
Absolutely. There is, and Dr. Brady still says to me, because I stop in to see him every now and then. He has me like all over posted the before and after pictures because he can't believe, here she was, I put medication in front of her. No, she didn't want it. I put surgery in front of her. No, she didn't want it. She did it all on her own.
I think that's the difference.
It's a huge difference.
I think that's the major difference. And, going back to, like you said, like, you had an addiction to food.
Absolutely.
And whether it's drugs or alcohol or whatever the addiction is,
yep.
I've known a lot of other people and other people that have been on the show that have overcame addictions.
Yep.
And it wasn't until you decided yourself that I'm going to do this for me because I want to do this.
Absolutely.
That it actually happens.
And you can have all the resources in front of you, whether it's supportive backing from your friends and family.
People paying for treatments, etc. The whole 9 yards, right?
But until you and yourself, you have to do it.
Yeah.
And that's why things are so different this time around for me, because fuck everybody else.
Yeah.
It was for me.
Yeah.
It was seriously for me. And I feel... I said this to you before we started. One thing I've always lacked in life was self-confidence. I've never had it. And I built a lot of that self-confidence when I opened my tanning salon because I am doing what I absolutely love. I always say this, do what you love and you never work a day in your life. I don't get up and go to work every single day. Bill, when I opened my tanning salon, I was open 7 days a week, no employees. I worked open to close every single day. Even now, 5 years into the business, I have my assistant. Shout out to Chelsea Balchun. She is phenomenal. She's my right-hand girl.
Shout out to Chelsea.
We love her, but I really am owner-operator. I do it all, and I'm always there. What I'm trying to get at is Abbronzatura tanning gave me the confidence to be able to have the confidence to sit here in front of you or anybody else, show these pictures, and tell you my story and not be embarrassed about it at all. Like, I want to scream at the top of the roof. Like, this is possible. You can do this. And honestly, we can do anything that we want in life.
Yeah.
It just comes down to if we want to do it or not.
Right.
And who we want to do it for.
By the way, I think you deserve to wear the goat chain. Do you want to wear the goat chain?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It'll match me super good.
You gotta wear
Can I take these off?
Yeah, go ahead.
Mind?
Yeah. You got to... This is like a new thing that kind of just started like recently. So like, here, can you... You get to, for being such a badass, here, flip it around,
Perfect.
for being such a badass and really crushing it
great.
here and having the confidence to come on the show and
Well, that's an
like
honor.
you said, like show these photos that you've never shown before to anyone, and to be able to put yourself out there, especially on a platform like this, where a lot of people are going to see this, like you said, like that's, you deserve the goat chain.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I really do. It's been a hell of a ride. These last 2 years have been a hell of a ride, but my whole life, it's been a hell of a ride. That's for sure. But these last few years, man, they've really changed my life, and for the better.
Yeah,
they really have.
That's awesome. So like the entrepreneurship journey for you, kind of like, I mean, you said it, opening the tanning salon and running your own business really gave you the confidence to achieve whatever.
And this is something I actually haven't shared with you before. Back in so I opened September of 2017. And in early 2019, when I moved to my second location, I had to expand because I needed more room. I had an older woman come in one afternoon. I was there by myself, and I was just about this heavy at that time, maybe 50, 60 pounds lighter, but still heavy. And she walked in, and I mean, I'm used to the reaction by now because we don't see 20-some-year-old business owners, we don't see many of them, right? So she had walked in one afternoon, and we were talking, and just like I introduced myself to everybody, hi, how are you? My name's Lindsey. I'm the owner. Very, very nice to meet you. Welcome. I hope to make you feel at home. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. And she took a step back from my desk, and she goes, "You're the owner?" And I said, "Yes, ma'am, I am." And she said, "You own a tanning salon and you're that heavy?" And I said,
"Wow.
Well, yeah, actually." And of course, business face at that point, I was super polite to her. But as soon as she left, I thought to myself, fuck you. Who are you to tell me basically I shouldn't own something that I love to do because of my weight? And it made me realize how people look at you. I mean, people knew me because of the business, but I never thought people looked at me like that. Like, you're allowing my weight to define who I am.
So judgmental.
Very judgmental. And not that had any influence on me losing weight, but it always pushed me a little bit harder.
Yeah, the haters.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, you're lighting a fire underneath me, and I mean, I think that hate and that, that jealousy factor is out there for everyone and everything. Does not matter, size, shape, color, gender, whatever. People are always jealous. People always want what other people have. But people don't realize how much their words affect other people, When I had shared that story with my clients, a lot of people went crazy over it. They're like, "What do you mean what do you mean she said that you basically shouldn't own a tanning salon because you're heavy? We don't even look at you like that." But I thought to myself, well, you know what? I'm promoting healthy tanning. I'm promoting the healthy side of feeling good about yourself, when in reality, I'm sabotaging myself. So I'm not doing any justice to my clients by going home and, I mean, I may not be drinking myself to sleep, but I'm eating myself to sleep. That's not okay. Can't do that, So, yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
It's crazy because, going back to like what that person said to you, it's, I know it's like a cliche statement, but like, you never know what somebody else is going through.
So,
really
funny that you say that. I've had girls that have worked for me over the last few years. And one thing that I say to every single one of them, I don't care what day you're having, don't care what is going on outside of these salon doors. I have built my business on the simple fact of everybody, no matter size, shape, color, gender, ethnicity, they come in my doors to feel welcome. Because I think back to, when we used to walk into tanning salons, right? You used to see these little tiny, petite, really pretty tan girls. Some of them would be like on their phones. "Hi, how are you?" last name, type you into the computer. No. Not in my salon. That was something that I always stood by because being a heavier girl, I didn't feel comfortable walking into salons because
you feel like you're being judged immediately. Yeah,
absolutely.
Like you don't
absolutely.
you don't fit the part. You don't fit the customer.
Absolutely.
Right?
So no matter what, I always say this to my girls. You do not know, and use me for example. You don't know what people are dealing with behind closed doors. 2021 was a very, very hard year for me. My business was thriving, but personally, mentally, physically, emotionally, I was at an all-time low. I think I was tapping out at that point. Was going through, at that time, a very toxic relationship, right? Nobody ever knew what I was going through because I always had a smile on my face. I always asked everybody how their day was, and I never let anybody know what I was dealing with behind closed doors.
Yeah, so it was more than just the weight struggle and the depression and anxiety. You were dealing with relationship toxicity. And
absolutely.
There was more to the whole thing.
My great aunt, like I mentioned before,
family.
Yeah, she was super sick with cancer at the time. I was basically an at-home caregiver for her. I lived with her my whole life. So there were a lot of other factors. It wasn't just me being super unhealthy, but my point is I preach to everybody, you are not going to act some sort of way or make somebody feel some sort of way if they come in a bad mood, because maybe they're in an abusive relationship, or maybe their job is fucking awful, or maybe they don't have the support system that we have at home. Maybe they just lost somebody, right? They're coming here for a sense of peace. So no matter what, be nice and be kind. And if you're not going to be, there's my door. Get out. Don't come back. And honestly, I think that's why I'm as successful as I am today.
Yeah.
Because I truly give a shit about my clients. It's not their money. I say this all the time. You don't have to even pay me. I do what I do because making people feel good about themselves makes me put my head down on my pillow at the end of the night and be super grateful that I'm the one that gets to do this for people. When my clients say to me, I come to you for a sense of relief and release and peace, you can't give me any more of a compliment. Sure, you could tell me that, my beds are clean, my salon is spotless, I have great customer service. Yeah, that all matters. But at the end of the day, how my clients feel about themselves and how they feel about my salon and what I do means the world to me.
Yeah, because the clean bed at the end of the day does not matter, but the way that they feel, and they're going to remember the way that you treated them.
Absolutely.
And the way that your employees treated them. They're going to remember that. They're never going to remember the price of your service or how clean the bed was.
Nope.
They're just going to remember how they felt.
Absolutely.
Coming and going.
Absolutely.
That's it.
And that's also another reason too. I have especially a lot of my other business owner friends, whether they're in the tanning industry or they're in some other industry. They're like, Linz, 5 years into the game and you're literally still an employee for yourself. Well, yeah, I guess you can say that, but it doesn't feel that way because I love what I do.
Yeah, but if you like doing that.
Exactly. And they're like, well, you should hire people, enjoy your life a little bit. And I get really sad when I think about well, yeah, I have my assistant. She's great, but I don't want to not be here. I want to be here. This is my life. These are my people. This is what I do. This is what keeps me driven and motivated every single day. So yeah, it would be nice to be able to travel and do this and do that, but I'm still super young. I love my life. I love what I've built in my hometown of West Pittston, and a lot of other people do too. And I hope that I could keep this going for, I hope another 20, 25 years at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. And going back to, like you said, why you think you've been successful. And it's kind of the same thing about what I'm about to say, but I just want to piggyback off it because I think it's so important. And you have what I call extreme empathy.
Absolutely.
Extreme empathy.
Yep.
And that's why you're successful.
I can feel people's energy. You know, I have people who come into the salon and they're just talking about what they're going through, and I'm behind the desk and I'm hysterical, crying. And they're like, "Oh my God, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to upset you." And I'm like, "No, I can feel the way that you feel. Like, I can feel what you're going through. Like, please let me know. Is there anything I could do? How can I help?" You know, it's crazy.
Empathy, I think, is one of the biggest characteristics I think that an entrepreneur, a successful one,
absolutely
needs to have.
Yeah, because we think about it. Most of the time, especially when it comes to like a businessman, you know, you think of a businessman and you're like, oh, geez, he's a dick,
hard ass.
Right? Yeah. Like, you know, no really getting around him. I don't ever want people to know me like that.
No,
I want
that's
people to say she is the sweetest and she does everything and anything. And I do. Like, anything and everything I could do for someone. I've had people come in, you know, moms who have said, "No, Linz, just give me a single tan today. You know, I can't afford to, you know, this week I just can't afford it with the kids to buy a week package or this or that." Take your single session, go in the bed, and I better see you tomorrow. I better see you the next day and the following day after that. And you know what? I lose out sometimes when I do that, but it makes me feel so good at the end of the day knowing that I help people, because if it wasn't for the people that I'm there for, if they weren't there for me, I wouldn't be where I am today. You know? And that's like huge to me. It's so big.
Yeah. So it's like, it's crazy to think about it that way. And the way you just said it. 'Cause like, it's like, you know, you're successful because of these people coming.
Absolutely.
Like, that's it. Like, you're so like into these people.
Yeah.
Right?
And I'm not giving away anything for free. Trust me. Like, I'm not handing out money here or, you know, free tanning packages all the time. I'm literally just giving people what they deserve. And that's somebody who cares.
Yeah.
Literally. Yeah. You know, I got to make a living. We all have to make a living at some point.
You can't have a loss.
Yeah.
You know, losing business. But
it's really not about the money at the end of the day to me. It's about making people feel fucking good. And you know what? I think it's probably because I went so long without knowing what it feels like to feel good.
So you're feeling good now.
Oh, hell yeah. Real good.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Good for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. And I think that, you know, that also is like, it's part of, it's, you know, when you stop caring about the money, or when you don't care, you know, because if you're chasing the money and if you're doing it for the money, number one, you're doing it for the wrong reasons, right? Number one.
Yep.
And number two, when you do that, more times than not, you're not going to achieve it.
No, absolutely.
Because you're not doing it for the right reason.
And especially in our area. I mean, there's money to make around here, but you're not going to be making the money that you're hoping and praying for if that's the reason you're doing it.
Exactly.
You know, maybe hit Philly or New York, but out here.
Yeah, and I think people can see right through that, you know, and I think another, you know, part of your success is like realizing that and just doing something because you love to do it and not like saying, oh, I'm just doing this to make money and profit and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And you're just doing it because you want to make somebody feel better about themselves.
Hell
like,
yeah.
That's how you build a profitable business.
Oh my God. Yeah. Because guess what? At the end of the day, those people that feel amazing and know that they can come to me for whether it's 10 minutes of peace and quiet away from the chaos of home, or it's feeling good for the wedding they may be in, or if it's their wedding, whatever the case may be, that is so much more than what $1 is to me.
Yeah, so you're not selling tanning, you're selling happiness.
Hell yeah, I am. Hell yeah. Right? I've never heard that before, but yeah, actually, yes, that's exactly what it is. It's not about being tan and looking good. I mean, sure, looking good makes us feel better, but it's about having somewhere to go where you don't feel judged and, you know, put into a category where you shouldn't be. Everybody should be welcome anywhere in today's day and age. Yeah. You know, and I've done that. I've made it that for what? I'm open 5 years now, and I'll continue to do that. Yeah. Continue.
So, all right. So let's go back a little bit to the weight loss.
Let's do it.
So what were you doing? Like what made you lose the weight?
Okay. So, after the pandemic, I had reopened, and at that point in time, I asked myself how I was going to make this a different journey. And I had made a promise to myself, because typically when I did this, it was all in or it was nothing. And what I mean by that is you're working out 5-6 days a week and you're eating like a rabbit. There's nothing else. Where this time I said, we're going to start off with 2 days a week of physical activity. Didn't care if it was walking, running, jumping, swimming, whatever it may be. And I also made the promise to myself, I'm not removing anything from my diet that I enjoy, which is everything. So by that, I said to myself, we're going to portion control. We're going, instead of eating until the point where I feel like I'm sick, when I feel like I'm full, we're going to push that plate away. We're going to get up from the table and we're going to say, okay, that's it. And it slowly started off with that. Now, physical activity wise, I knew I was so heavy. I didn't want to go back into a regular gym by myself. I didn't want to go through that again. Because I feel like with everybody, that jump start, whether it's we put on a lot of weight or even just 5 or 10 pounds, getting back into that routine is so hard at first. So a very good friend of mine who ended up coming to my salon for a few years had said to me, listen, I just switched gyms, and she had told me CrossFit Anthracite. Shout out Jenna Strelzecki.
Jenna.
I was like, Jamie, listen, I am not CrossFitting. I am 400 pounds. I could barely breathe when I'm walking. You're going to kill me. And she's like, no. They opened up a really small spin studio. And at that point, it was the cycle yard. And she said, listen, we're in this like small little room outside of the CrossFit gym. And the one thing that got me was we cycle in the dark. And I was like, oh, so you mean nobody's going to see me like suffering?
Perfect.
And she was like, yeah. She was like, you could take a bike in the back. She was like, it's great music. It's super fun. And we were just out of COVID. So I think there was maybe like 11 bikes, 10 bikes in there. So there weren't many of us. And that's how it all started. I ended up going Tuesday and Wednesday nights to their 6:30 class, which was only 45 minutes. I took the same bike every night, or those nights that I went, in the back, in the darkest part, so that nobody saw me. And as my journey went on, I added in little by little. When I got to a certain point of losing so much weight, Jenna had said to me, Linz, I think it would be really beneficial for you to start lifting a little bit. You've lost all of this, fat from yourself. You're starting to look a little like, not right, not proportioned the right way. My legs were super toned and fit because I was cycling, but up top, there was a lot of loose skin. It didn't look right. And I'm like, Jenna, I don't know if I could do this right now. And she's like, okay, just sit on it. When you're ready, you let me know. So I ended up taking on CrossFit for a little while with her for just about a year, which I absolutely loved. And at that point, I got to a really, really great weight. I was in even better shape than I was now. But I had noticed that I was getting to a point where I was becoming obsessed with it. Working out went from 5 days a week to 7 days a week to once a day to twice a day. And then I was seeing no progress with my body. So I said to myself, okay, Lindsey, here we go. We're starting an addiction again. And the addiction isn't a healthy one. I really wasn't eating much. I mean, I was drinking water because I needed it, but I was so zoned in on working out and being in the gym that I wasn't realize how unhealthy it was becoming. So I had taken a little step back, which was really hard for me, actually. I struggled a lot with it, and more so mentally than anything, because working out became a huge mental release for me, for my depression and my anxiety. And when I realized that I was cutting that out a couple of days a week, I wasn't functioning like I normally was. So long story short, it started off as a really great journey. It was super fun. And in the beginning, I didn't even think about losing weight. It was more so just the decompression of it all. And then turned into a little bit of an unhealthy relationship with the gym. And now I'm at a point where When I work out, I work out. When I don't, I don't. And I give myself the grace of doing that. And I know that there's some of you out there that are listening that are probably going to say, Bill, she's lying to you. She works out 5 days a week. Like, I don't know what she's talking about. And you're right. I do, but not as crazy as I did. You know, it's not CrossFitting, 5-6 days a week and throwing a lot of weight over my head. Now I do a lot of hot Pilates where it's mind, body, and soul, a lot of stretching, low impact workout. And like I said, I said this to you before, I'm in the happiest and healthiest place mentally, physically, and emotionally right now that I've ever been in. And that excites me for the future because I can't wait to see what this leads to.
Good for you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, but going back to, I want to kind of touch on it a little bit.
Sure.
You mentioned like an obsession, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like, there's like, I feel like there's healthy obsessions and then there's unhealthy ones,
Sure.
you know? And like, I kind of see that like you have both, right?
Yeah.
And like everybody, I think, experiences both at some degrees, at some points in their life and various things, right? But like I say, like a healthy one is like you're obsessed about your business and the process of your business and, what you do.
Yep.
Like that's a good, healthy obsession, right?
Absolutely.
But then, like you said, then there's the negative side, to the obsession where you're going like you're doing too much of that it's actually adversely affecting
and it
you,
was
right?
so
it's
weird.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy. But I think it's like, it's just a weird, there's like that fine line.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it also kind of ties back into, like addiction. Mm-hmm. It's like, it's all kind of interrelated.
Yeah.
And it's like so crazy to think about.
Yeah.
And like, I kind of just want to talk about it for a couple minutes.
Let's do it. Yeah.
It's like, it's just so interesting. I'm so fascinated by this because I've had multiple other people on this show that have had various addictions.
Yep.
Drugs, alcohol, various, right?
Yep.
Obviously a lot of them, overcame, and are sober.
Yeah.
But also now have achieved massive success.
Yeah.
And I look at you like you're now achieving and you've been achieving massive success after you overcame this addiction. And I think like it just kind of takes like hitting that rock bottom, to be able to like start over and build yourself back up. But it's just so crazy to me how like, a lot of people who overcame that addiction just become very, very successful in business.
It's like we unlock this power that you...
It's like a secret power.
Yeah, like you're like a superhero of some sort, right?
Yeah.
Like you just... Because at some point you say to yourself, how the hell did I get to where I am? Like, how did I let it get this bad? How am I going to make things any better, right? And then once you realize, oh shit, I actually am. Like I'm climbing back up that ladder. It's its own sense of empowerment in so many different ways.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be with addiction. It could be with anything in life. Doing something that you normally think that you can't do and achieving it or working on achieving it is always going to empower you and give you that sense of, I am a badass and I am unstoppable at all given points.
You're a goat.
Actually.
You're now the goat.
Literally.
You're the goat of the show today.
Actually, yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Absolutely. But yeah, like it's just like I said, it's fascinating to me because just that topic of like obsession. I think if you, to be very successful at what you do, I mean, you really have to be obsessed about your business and the process.
Absolutely.
And otherwise, like I said this on another show that I was on recently, but if you're not like, there's the difference between like somebody who's just passionate about what they do and somebody who's obsessed about what they do is, it's nice to, get the pat on the back from people and say, hey, you're doing a good job. Hell, hey, you're successful. Hey, wow, great job. You're doing so good. Like, this is cool. Good for you. But I think the difference between, the passion and the obsession and then somebody who's achieving high success and is a high performer is once you become obsessed about it, you don't need that pat on the back anymore. Like that doesn't matter. Like, yeah, it's great. Yeah. It's great, right?
Feels great. Yep.
But you're doing it because you love to do it.
That's right.
That's it.
Yep.
Like you're not doing it for any other reason. Like you're just running your business. Like, yes, it's great that these people feel so great about themselves and you're making them feel great about themselves.
Yep.
But at the same time, like you're doing it because you love to do it.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's the difference.
Yeah. And some people would say like, Lindsey, how does the tanning industry make you, so happy?
Yeah, where people are I love asking people that, because it's like, I had somebody else on, a dentist, and I'm like, dude, you're obsessed with teeth. He's like, yes, I'm obsessed with teeth.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like same thing for you. Like you're obsessed with tanning.
Yep.
But there's so much more to it. It's not just like, and like you said, other people might laugh at that and be like, how the hell could somebody be obsessed and love tanning so much? But like, there's so much more.
There's so much more.
And I get it, like I'm not obsessed with tanning, but I understand.
Yeah.
Like I understand like why you're doing it.
Yep.
And I think some people who just don't have the same, this type of mindset.
Yep.
They don't get it, and they'll never get it, and that's okay. They don't have to.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But it's just always just such an interesting conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
To talk about these things, because, like I said, like people sometimes will just laugh at you.
Yeah. I've had people say to me like, or not even like, oh geez, well that's something, great to be obsessed with. Or I've had people say to me, oh yeah, you're obsessed with promoting, like cancer and, doing, promoting bad things for people. No, because reality of it is too much of anything in life is bad, right?
Right.
But we're like plants. We need sunlight and water to survive. And I'll say it again. Too much of anything is too bad, or is bad for us, right? So if you're doing something in life and you're doing it the right way, there's nothing negative that can come from it, Well, that's what I believe.
And you can't really control it anyway.
No.
To a degree, like you said, if you're doing it in the right amount,
absolutely,
in moderation, the right way, you can't control.
No,
you can't control you can't control the outcome.
No, you can't.
You just can't.
Absolutely,
it's
absolutely
life.
not. You
it's
can't.
life.
Yep.
So
and unfortunately,
you're 100% right.
We're going to go through things that God has planned for us that we may not know of in the next 5, 10, 20 years, right? So I just believe life is short. Live your life, man. Be happy.
Yeah.
Do what makes you feel good. Because I lived for so long doing what I thought was right, or quote unquote, what everybody else wanted for me. The day that I turned it around and I did what was meant for me and what I wanted was the day my life changed. And I think everybody needs to take that stand for themselves at some point.
It was the day your life started.
Oh, that's for sure. That's for sure. Because it was coming to an end very quickly when I look at these pictures.
That's scary.
It's super scary at 20 some years old, And I mean, I know at the point that I'm at now, I'll never get back to that, but that's one thing I never said to myself. I didn't give a shit. I did it once. Oh, okay, whatever. I put on all this weight. I could do it again. No, not as we get older. As we get older, our health really comes into perspective. Things change. It's not as easy as when we were 16, 17, 18 years old and in high school, right? So, do what's best for you and what you want. Fuck everyone else and what they want.
Yeah, seriously.
Absolutely.
I love it.
I live unapologetically.
Unapologetically, yes.
And authentic.
That's the way to be.
Yeah. And
100%.
I have no problem being truly authentic and, genuine with everything that I say. And I'll say this to you too. Along the way, that has benefited me and it's also hurt me. For example, I have taken on a very good amount of clientele by being who I am and just saying what the hell I want to say, where I've lost some clients that have thought, she doesn't do it the way that I agree with.
Yeah, she's not for me.
Right, But in reality, you don't like what I'm doing because I'm doing it the right way. And I'm not fucking sorry about it. Sorry. I mean, if you think somebody else is going to do it better or care more, I'll hold the door open for you. I'll see you in a few months when you realize that nobody else is going to care as much as I do.
Yeah.
And they always come back.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. You're right.
Always.
You're right.
Always. And in the moment, don't get me wrong, when people walk out of my salon and I know that they're not happy, I'm devastated. And typical like owners of businesses, if they're not in it for the right reason, they don't care if you're happy, sad, mad, or any of the above. Where I genuinely lose sleep over knowing, oh my word, I may have done something wrong or they weren't happy with the service. What can I do to make this right? Where can I change things in the future so that way I don't run into this issue again? when in reality, it's 99.9% of the time, not me. It's a them thing, right? But they realize, oh, she really is doing it for the right reasons. You know, she's telling us the right things, not because she wants to blow smoke up our asses, but because she really cares about what she does.
Yeah.
And she really enjoys what she does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, and you know, I also just want to just bring up another little point here is, you know, when you reached out, we didn't really know each other. We've been following each other for a while.
Absolutely.
And I know you've been following and supporting the show and,
Yep.
and listening and watching whatever, you know, there's been people on the show, you know, that you know. Obviously, by the time this show comes out, you know, it'll be a few weeks after the episode that recently came out with Lorenzo, who I know you're related to.
Yes.
And everyone probably right now is thinking to themselves like, oh, this is like the medical. This turned into the medical show here, right?
Shout out Lorenzo.
Yeah, shout out Lorenzo.
Hey, bud.
love you, buddy. But you know, just because he was on the show wasn't an influence as to why I had you on. And I just want to say this because I feel like a lot of people might be like, oh, well, he's having her on just because,
right,
you know, she's related to him or whatever. And honestly, it's nothing like that.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you can tell people what I said to you when you messaged me.
Yep.
You asked to come on, and I think I told you like, hey, you know, here's the form I asked people to fill out, and I do turn away way more people than I like to. And
dead ass, I filled out that application. I sent it to you, and I thought to myself, probably not going to hear from him. You know, this podcast has blown up in the last, you know, how many months, and, you know, he's doing so well. And hey, if he asks me to come on, great. And if he doesn't, hey, so be it. It is what it is, right? And here you reached out a couple weeks later, and I'm like, yeah.
It was a fit though too. Honestly, like we, you know, of course we just knew each other just from following on social media, but we didn't know each other.
No.
And again, even though like, you know, I just had Lorenzo on and you're related, I didn't know you. Right. We didn't know anything really about each other.
No, not at all.
Like this is the longest conversation we've ever had.
Yeah, definitely.
But you know, but just going back to it, like, you know, obviously I'm looking for the right type of person with the you know, the story I'm trying to, you know, get out of people and share with people. And, you know, and obviously when everything I read about your whole story, like it's inspiring, and, you know, it was a fit for the show. And, you know, that's like part of the reason why, you know, I like to have people on like you who, you know, you've overcame some shit.
Yeah, I've been through some really heavy stuff these last few years.
Yeah.
You know,
it's incredible.
Thank you.
It's incredible. Thanks. It really is. And I give you a lot of credit for coming on today. I mean, first of all, you've even taken the step to fill out the form.
Sure.
And telling me, you know, a little bit about yourself and your journey as much as you could tell me in that small form.
Sure.
But, you know, just going back to that, like it's, you know, you just never know. You know what I mean? And not that I wasn't gonna, you know, not that I was just discounting you whatsoever, but we didn't know anything about each other.
Right.
And,
absolutely.
You know, nothing against you or anybody else. It's just, you know, like most people that reach out to me, I don't know them.
Right.
I don't know them.
Yeah.
You know, like how, you know, I mean, a lot of people that have on the show, some people I know very well.
Right.
Right. You know, but, you know, half or more than half, at least anymore, like I don't know the people that are coming that want to come on this show.
Right.
And, I got to learn about these people first. And like, you know, but yeah, I mean, honestly, you just have a great story. And
well, thank you.
Yeah.
I really, really appreciate that.
Yeah.
And, you know, I know I said this to you before, you know, I tend to just talk and I feel like I'm rambling sometimes, but it's been such an amazing journey over these last 4 years. And I just want to share it with people. I want people to know that, one, we all go through shit, no matter how simple it may be or how tough it may be. You know, life is life. And, you know, being only human and not robots, we all suffer with shit. You know, we all have ups and downs, but there is a light at the end of the tunnel. It dumbs down to us as ourselves asking, are we going to take the easy route or are we going to take the hard route? And I'll take the hard route every single time from here on out because it's shown me how much I'm capable of. And if I could get through this, come on, we could get through anything at this point.
Shit. Yeah. Let's go.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm super excited for it.
Yeah. Good for you.
Thank you.
I wish you all the best.
Well, thank you so much.
Yeah. So, all right. So how can our listeners connect with you online?
So, you are more than welcome to reach out to me on social media. My personal page, my business pages, Abbronzatura Tanning, or The Best Glow in the 570. or any of my, like I said, my personal pages, which is Lindsey Timek or Lindsey Ann, you may see on some of them, or I'm always at my salon. I am in West Pittston, right next to the Wyoming area football field. Please, I encourage you, come in, say hi, say hello, grab a seat, and let's talk. I don't even give a shit if you tan or if you don't. I mean, let's just talk. Yeah. Ask me about my life. Ask me about my journey. You know, I'm a huge supporter in supporting other women. So let's do this.
Shout out to all the badass women.
Damn right. And if you don't feel like you are one of them.
Yes.
We are all a badass. Men, women, we are what we are. And I look forward to this. And I thank you for bringing me on here and allowing me to be able to share my story.
Absolutely. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, definitely.
You know? And Abbronzatura.
Yes. Best glow in the 570.
Hashtag
yes.
Best glow in the 570.
Absolutely.
I was nervous about pronouncing that before you came in. I didn't even know how to say it.
So, I mean, it's one thing that we didn't think about when we were standing around, 6 years ago at family dinner on a Sunday, and my aunt started saying Abbronzatura in Italian. And I'm like, what are you saying? And she's like, it means sunbathe in Italian, Lindsey. And I looked at her and I said, that's it. That's the name. I went through 570 tanning, Valley tanning, LT tanning. There was
all the typical.
so many things that I wanted to do with it. And when she said it, it stuck. And now that she's not here with me anymore, it means even more to me.
Yeah.
Even I can't even talk about it because I get
emotional,
but
it's like a nod to her.
Yeah, she was like my second mom. So, I am the woman I am today because of her. So everything I do from here on out is in honor of her. So,
awesome.
Yeah.
I love it.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm super grateful that you're here.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you for having me here.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Lindsey Timek on the Stags podcast in the Blue Door Studio. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you so much.
If you want to see more On the Stacks content, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/onthestackspodcast or search the hashtag #OnTheStacks on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and leave a review. We'll catch you next time on The Stacks.